Right, so today guys, what we're going to be doing is just having a little look at Premiere Pro, just get you started on simply importing video clips. We'll cover a little bit of editing, just the basics today. So, firstly what you're going to do is start a new project, and here's where you get the chance to kind of name what you want to call your project. Today we just called it Test Video, which is a bit bland, but I think it kind of fits the bill. So straight off the bat, this is your interface, and before looking at anything in any further detail, what we're going to want to do first is import media to start. So that's just down here. If you double click that, and then what you want to do now is just find your file or folder containing your video clips. Just for simplicity today, mine's just on the desktop, so double click that. So now what you can do is you can either click and drag upwards to select all your clips, or you can do Command A to select all, which you probably know already. And once they're all highlighted, if you just click import down here, like so, it will take a little bit of time to import it, not too long. Down at this left hand side here are the video clips you've just imported. As you can see, mine are kind of underexposed, but that's fine. So here's where you're going to want to drag your clips in for editing, and to do that, if you just pick a clip to start off with, we'll choose anyone at random just for the minute, and there you have it. Your video clip that you've just chosen is now in your sequence, and this is kind of how I like to do it. I'm not going to explain other stuff, just going to tell you the way I do it because it's what's more natural for me to explain to you right now. So in here you can view your video clip. So this little bar here, you can click and drag it and you can kind of watch it like this, which is good for kind of skipping to the bit where you want it to start at. Alternatively, you can leave it at the start. This is your play button here, and you can click that to kind of start the clip off and it will play in real time. Alternatively, you can use the space bar, which can control start and stop, which is kind of cool. So now that we've got our video clip in, let's say this is going to be the start of our video. We'll get into bringing in a song in a little minute. But let's say we're happy with this clip and we want to start it off. So what we're going to want to do now is kind of find where, you know, we were going to be filming from. So in this case, I wanted to kind of start from about here. It's filmed on a Ronin, so there's normally a bit of shakes you can see, but that's the smoothest part, kind of around there. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just clicking and dragging and using the space bar to stop it. It's just what works well for me. I think it's the easiest way. So now that we've got that clip in, what we're going to want to do is kind of chop it up, because we no longer need this first section down here. There's a number of ways you can do it. You can either click, if you go over to the beginning of the clip, you'll see this red bar. You haven't got to do anything, you just drag it and that'll come up, and if you then click when that's there and hold whilst you're clicking, you can simply drag it to the right. Once it gets there, you can let it go. That's one way to do it. This file down here is the audio of this clip. A lot of the times if you drag it, they will drag at the same time, but mine are detached at the minute. So that's one way of doing it. That's one way. Or the alternative way is to come over to this bar here and change your tool. So right now we're on the selection tool, which means we can drag clips around as we choose. But if we come down to this one here, which is the razor tool, that will allow us to cut the clip where we want it. So we can simply hover over that and line it up where we wanted it to be and simply click. And now to remove this section here, it's already highlighted, but if it wasn't, you would simply click on the clip and then backspace and it will delete it. And seeing as this, well, I'm not going to be using the audio, so I'll leave that there because sometimes you can't just delete the audio. So there we have it, there's our first clip in there. And we can simply drag that to the start. And there you have it, it's playing. So a little problem that sometimes happens, you'll be playing a clip, it's normally when you've got more clips in there, but it won't be smooth, it will kind of lag a little bit. And that is because of this button here. So where it says full, that means you're looking at the video clip in a full resolution. So that's what you shot it at. You might want to drop that a little bit, depending. Sometimes I have to go all the way down to a quarter. And yeah, as you can see, it is blurred. It just means that you can kind of play the clips and you will get little flashes in there. Don't know if it's the same on all versions of Premiere Pro, but it certainly is on this one. Okay, cool, so we've got our clip in, the first clip is in. So now what we're going to want to do, what I usually do for Instagram videos and people do for videos is you kind of want to fade in the first clip. And for that, I like to use cross dissolve. So this is your effects tab up here. And there's loads of stuff in here, but you know, I'll just show you what I use out of it, and I only use about 3 things actually. So what you can do is type in cross dissolve, and you'll see it come up here. And then what you're going to want to do is if you click and hold it, you're going to want to drag and drop it onto this here, onto your clip. It's really straightforward once you get the hang of it. So yeah, you've got to actually drag it to the start of the clip there, like so. And now when you press play, it will fade in, which is quite nice. And what you can do, what we'll do is we'll just zoom in here. So as you can see, we're kind of learning as we go, which I think is the best way to learn. So to zoom in, if you look at your keyboard on a Mac, you have the plus and minus sign. If you press the plus sign, you can zoom in. Minus sign, you can zoom out. You can go quite far, very simple. But we're just going to zoom in and extend this fade in just a little bit, not by much. And to do that, you have to click on where it says cross dissolve there. I don't think you can, yeah, sometimes you can click it first, but just make sure that's highlighted and this remains blue as it is there. And same as when we dragged that clip at the start, you want to just extend that, click and drag to the right, and then that should, yeah, prolong the fade in a little bit more. So whilst we're over here, I'm going to just quickly add another effect. And in terms of effects, that's all I'm going to use. So just a simple fade in. And then to give it the cinematic look, what I like to do is if you type in crop, this is in the same bar, the same effect. If you click that, and then actually what I like to do, I'll just show you what it does first. So as you can see, we've dragged that onto our clip. Now if you come up here, what I like to do is if you click on top and just in this area here, and if you just type in 10 on your keyboard and then click enter, as you can see what it's done is it's cropped the top off by 10%, and if you do the same on the bottom by 10%, and straight away you've got borders on there, which makes it look more like a film already. That's not normally how I put the crop on, so otherwise you've got to do that individually with every single clip. So this is when a thing called an adjustment layer comes in. I'm just going to get rid of this quickly. So to get rid of that, you just click where it says crop, backspace, and you're in. So in order to make an adjustment layer, basically what an adjustment layer will do is it will alter everything that's underneath it. And then I'll quickly show you how that works. But firstly, we've just got to create one, which is really straightforward. So if you come down just over here, and if you come to this one, it says new item, so it's next to the bin. If you click that once, you'll see there, it says adjustment layer. and that will automatically go to the width and height of your video. And then if you just press OK, it will create one down here. And then what you want to do is just kind of drag it, as long as it's above this, it doesn't really matter where it is. I'll just put it up there. You're going to want to just drag and drop, like so. So now you have an adjustment layer, and this will alter anything that is below it in any way, shape or form that you can imagine. So you're going to want to drag that crop back on to the adjustment layer, go back up to top, type in 10, like so, bottom by 10, very simple stuff. And you're going to want to extend it all the way over this clip, just so it covers it all. And then you have a clip fading in. Okay, right, so now what we've got, just going to find a song. You can either import the video file in, no, the audio file, so that's the song, and that will have to go in one of these audio sections here. I've already imported mine in, but to do it, you can either just simply find the file, which is in my downloads, drag and drop it in. It's very easy to do. Okay, I'm just going to mute that for the minute because we're not actually going to hear the song with the clips. I'll be talking over it. So now we've got a song in, it will add a feeling to the video because you have to have music with it. And this isn't going to be a full edited video, I won't show it to you afterwards, but I'll just run through a couple of things. So normally with a clip, about 3 seconds is long enough if it's for Instagram. So what we're doing now is when we've seen enough of the clip, we can stop it and press spacebar. There's no set time, some stuff, you know, some minutes long, but for Instagram and social media and the way I like to edit, which is going to be a minute long maximum per video, so that's what Instagram allows, I would say full second, around that mark is perfect. So what we're going to want to do is the same way that we shortened the clip. Once again, you can use this tool over here to chop the clip up, but I saves having to do one click really. There are key commands that you can use to change this into the tool. I think it's, yeah, it says it's C. So you can quickly change. Maybe it's quicker, maybe it's not. So now we've got that clip in there, we can now find another one. Obviously you can be a little bit better with your selection maybe. And once again, we don't want any of this stuff here. Maybe we want it from about there. It's completely caters for taste really. Wouldn't normally put these two together. As you can see, it changes there. And let's say we cut it there. Now let's say that we've completely finished our video now, which we haven't, so it's 6 seconds long. What we're going to want to do now is make sure that everything lines up at the end, and we want to go down here. So this is when I would actually use the razor tool. I'm just going to zoom out quickly so you can see. So otherwise I've got to go all the way up here, click and drag it all the way back to there. So I will use this tool here. So you want to click there, and there we are. Now what we can do now is just completely remove this, because the problem is, and we'll remove this audio track as well, like so. Because the problem is that if you try and export this video, it's only 6 seconds, but say if there was a tiny bit of data from an audio file here, or a little bit of a song or a clip that you forgot that you put in for later that you didn't use, and say that's all the way down, I don't know, here or wherever it is, the video will export up until that point. And I remember at the start I tried to export a video and it said it would take 10 minutes or 50, or a ridiculous time, and that is simply why. So wherever you finish, you want to make sure that there's nothing there. And actually a good way to test it is if you press play, the video will stop at the end by itself, so I'm not pressing anything here. The video will stop, so that's a good way to test. Okay, so now just to round up this a little bit, what we're going to do is kind of start as we mean to end. So I like to fade out at the end most of the time. So we're going to come up here, type in cross dissolve, going to click and drag it onto the end of the clip, and then that will simply fade it out as well. I also like to do that with audio so that everything moves together. I've got this muted at the minute, but I can show you what I would do with it anyway. So if you come up here to the effects, you want to just type in this here, if you can see that. So it's a fade of audio, and the same as the cross dissolve, you want to click and just simply drag that down, and then do the same at the end, click and drag it down. And once again, you can kind of cater to your needs. Maybe you want, you know, the song to fade out a lot faster than the video clip does, or you want them both to fade out at the same time. That's completely up to you guys. So right now it will fade in. There's a little clip change there, and then it will fade out. And you can do that over, it's just, if I edit a whole video right now, it's going to take forever. But that shows you simply how to kind of bring stuff in, fade stuff out, add an adjustment layer just to crop the video down. And in the next video, what we're going to be looking at as well is just simple color grading within Premiere Pro. And that's what we will do in the next one.